Greetings, everyone. My name is Ryan Freese, and I'm a technology consultant with Ingram Micro. And today we have a topic that I'm pretty passionate about and excited to present to all of you in today's video, and that's digital workspace. So I'll go through what a digital workspace is as we move along in the presentation, but to set the lay of the land, it's one of 9 or 10 key data center trends that our group of technologists have identified here at Ingram Micro. It's also a key technology trend that a lot of global research organizations, big ones like Gartner, Forrester, IDC, have also identified. So definitely, it's up and coming. It's here to stay for at least for a while. And during this video, my goal is to walk you through the evolution of what a workplace is, go through a little bit of a story time, touch upon what a digital workspace is. So go through the different components that make up a digital workspace, why your organization should care, why your customers are looking at this key trend to bring technologies that fit this space, tips on building your own digital workspace practice if you don't have one already today, as well as how you can reach out to our team here at Ingram Micro. So without further ado, let's go ahead. Let's jump into it. So I mentioned a little bit of story time. So a little bit about me. I was born and raised in Florida. Have been there my entire life. Actually went to college at Florida Atlantic University for my computer engineering degree back in the day, which I guess wasn't that long ago. And really, when I look back at 2012, I really decided to make a change in my life for the better. I started eating healthier. I started going to the gym at least 5 times a week, if not 6 times a week, and ended up losing actually close to 100 pounds. I put some of that back on, so let's not talk about that, but put a little bit back on, but still living the healthy lifestyle. But what I noticed and why I'm sharing this is I would often go to the gym midday around lunchtime and would always wonder to myself, how are there just so many people at the gym working out? These weren't college students. These were, older people that like just don't they go to work? Why are they at the gym? And similarly, I'm a little bit of a coffee snob. I love any coffee shop. If I see one when I'm traveling, that's more of a local brand, especially, I would visit it. And kind of the same thing I've noticed. I would often visit my local Starbucks, and I would do any sort of schoolwork while I was there, or just to get a change of scenery, to read a book, something along those lines. And it was almost always bustling with people no matter the time of the day. And even on my way to driving to Starbucks, I just noticed that there's a surprisingly number of cars on the road for it being mid-afternoon. So I remember actually asking some of my friends and family members, and yes, this is a older picture of me and my family rocking out at a local festival here in Florida called Sunfest. And I remember asking them, I'm like, hey, is this normal? Why are there so many people at the coffee shop, at the gym? And my dad, he's been in IT his entire life. And some of my friends also recently graduated college in the last year or two. And they made me realize that once I graduate from college, I realized people are starting to work flexible schedules, and that this is actually a benefit a lot of employers will offer to their employees as incentive for them to join their organization. And I remember that concept being really, really appealing to me at the time. I remember all throughout college telling people that I always wanted a job where I'm not tied to an office or I'm not tied to a cubicle. Actually was looking at civil engineering at one point because it seemed appealing to me to be able to mix it up, go outside some days where you're on site, some days in the office. And I wanted a role that allowed me the flexibility to work really where I want. Like, here's a picture of our local park here in South Florida, and have the flexibility to go to the gym mid-afternoon if I wanted to get a afternoon workout in, and not really having to worry about if I have to leave for 30 minutes to an hour to go to that dentist or doctor's appointment for a checkup or whatever the case may be. To me, flexibility just made a lot of sense. Of course, if we fast forward to today, where I am right now, I'm a fully remote employee at Ingram Micro. I have been for the last 4 or 5 years now, as far as fully remote. Even as I'm recording this video, kind of good timing, I'm working for a month out of my in-laws' house in New Jersey. My wife and I, we actually drove 17 hours to be here. I brought my computer equipment, and it's really the flexibility of my job that is providing me the ability to spend more time with family that I otherwise would never get a chance to. And this massive interest in flexible work arrangements doesn't just pertain to me. Numerous of studies, as you can see here, have been done identifying the desire for employees to have flexible arrangements. The interest was actually so high that, in fact, nearly 80% of employees equate flexible work arrangements to a top consideration when evaluating future job opportunities. And to take it a step further, you can see here 36% are actually willing to leave their current employer in the next year, in the next 12 months, if they don't begin offering more flexible arrangements. So it's kind of showing that this is an expectation now as the newer generations are coming into the workplace. And one thing I do want to mention with this particular study, this was done in 2018. This was done pre-pandemic. So I would imagine, because of what the pandemic did for the future of work, that these statistics would be considerably higher now. Then I started asking myself, really, what's the cause of all of this? And that's the speed at which technology is really evolving and changing. With every new technology, it's continuing to connect us globally to the rest of the world and really connect us at all times. How many of you, after a workday, you still are on your phone checking emails? That's because technology is presenting us with that capability. And work just seems to follow us around everywhere. I mean, even when I'm on vacation, it's very hard to fully unplug from work. And technology is why we're really seeing this shift from fixed working hours to flexible hours. We're seeing siloed information to more shared information with technologies like OneDrive, ShareFile, Dropbox, Box, you name it. We're seeing changes from on-premise technologies like a full-blown SAP type suite to cloud technology to more SaaS-based applications. Even the way we communicate has changed. We went from primarily email communication, which is still we still use email significantly, but now we have unified communication and collaboration tools like Microsoft Teams, Cisco WebEx, Zoom, which allows us to be more communicative with our different departments, right? So we move from siloed and fragmented departments to really connected and engaged departments outside of your own. There's more collaboration than ever before. And then, of course, especially with the pandemic, we moved from working from the office to working from anywhere. I actually just listened to a news report where they interviewed the CEO of Citrix, and as a part of that, they were sharing statistics from Amazon how they fully went from a in-office model to a hybrid model. They have employees that are now going in 2-3 days a week, and they're working from home the other 2-3 days a week. And then there's other employees that are just now fully remote. And this is really showing that organizations, the change of the work landscape is moving away from the physical perimeter of the office building, and we're moving towards a more digital perimeter for these organizations. But this presents its own set of challenges. Now employees are faced with this disparate environment of different web apps, SaaS apps, traditional desktop applications, maybe desktop applications that are virtualized via a technology like Citrix or VMware, as well as content that lives all over the place, whether that be in the cloud, like OneDrive, like Google Drive, Dropbox, local on the employee's desktop or laptop, or in their company's file repository. There's also supposed to be different passwords for each of these applications, and you have to know how to use all these different multi-factor authentication options, whether that be a text to your phone, an authenticator app, maybe something else like a fingerprint, a smart card. So it's really complex for a lot of these users. And that's not even to mention the choice of device we want to be able to provide users. It's almost an expectation for new employees, being able to use their own mobile device, being able to choose if they want to use their corporate laptop or their desktop at home. And did you know that IDC actually did a study about how the average knowledge worker spends their time looking for content? And the average knowledge worker actually spends about 2.5 hours per day, or roughly around 30% of their workday, if we look at a typical 8-hour workday, just searching for information. So if we put tangible numbers around that statistic from IDC, let's say you have a customer with 1,000 employees, and this is something you can definitely share with your customer, and their average employee salary is around 80,000, and we have a 30% loss in productivity. By doing a little bit of math, this is around a $24 million cost per year of unproductive employees just looking to find content. So let's say we can improve this 30% number by just 20%. 20%. So in other words, we're improving employee productivity by just 6%. Seems pretty reasonable, right? In this specific use case for 1,000 employees with this average salary, we could save them just by a 6% increase, $4.8 million per year. So talk about some staggering statistics. And that's exactly what a digital workspace is trying to solve. It's trying to solve all this complexity that this digital perimeter offers, all these new technologies offer for the employees, as well as for IT for that matter. So if we look at what a digital workspace is, simply put, a digital workspace, it simplifies the experience of employees accessing all of their applications, all of their data in a single central platform. It's providing that single user interface where employees can access all their SaaS apps, their web apps, their corporate data and files, if they have any sort of virtual apps, virtual desktops, and provides a consistent, high-quality user experience regardless of the user's device that's coming in, regardless of the location, what network they're on, if they're connecting from a Starbucks or a Panera Bread or whatever the case may be. Also, a good digital workspace, it should wrap everything in enhanced security controls. So whether that be things like watermarking, enhanced policies, clipboard, redirection, anti-malware, things of that nature, as well as provide some insightful analytics that have some tangible actions associated with it, and simplifying the management for IT as well as help desk. So if we take it a little deeper of what a digital workspace entails, I really like to say there's 7 key characteristics that make up a digital workspace. And also you can see here on the right some staggering statistics that a digital workspace can overcome as far as improving employee productivity, reducing OpEx spend, as well as the flexibility for employees. But going through the key characteristics here, it all starts with the user experience. If user experience isn't number one as far as top of mind for your customer, security probably is, and a digital workspace covers both. But the user experience, we're starting with the user connecting from one device, and maybe they're running their application or their virtual desktop, and they connect from another device. We want to ensure that user experience is seamless. Also, when they access their various applications, we want to ensure that accessing those applications is also going to be seamless for the user. It'll single sign them in so they don't have to re-authenticate every time. And I'm actually jumping the gun a little bit because that's going to be our number 6. But if we move to number 2, we also want to provide users with unified access. So this is an integrated IT platform to streamline apps, data, and device management, all from that single platform. Also, security. Mentioned this before. We need to ensure that we have centralized security policies to protect data across different platforms to serve any requirement. So oftentimes what I like to ask customers is, a lot of customers tend to use a variety of SaaS apps. I ask, what's your security stance across all of those applications? Do you have a centralized security control over all those apps? And most of the times they kind of just stare at you like not understanding what the question is, because they think inherently these SaaS applications are secure. And some may be to an extent, but it is important that they understand that they should have a centralized security engine for all of those different SaaS applications, because those SaaS applications can have vulnerabilities. Also, IT management tools. So this is all about providing IT easy way to manage and monitor their services in that centralized IT management platform. Also, an employee storefront. So this is going to be tied to the user experience. This is a personalized employee experience for the user, so they can customize where their applications live. They can favorite things. They can see recent spreadsheets, documents that they recently accessed. So providing each employee their own personalized user experience. Also, single sign-on and identity and access management. So one of the concerns for a lot of organizations is, as we have this digital perimeter, is ensuring that when users access the environment, they are who they say they are. So in other words, when somebody logs in with a username and password, we want to make sure it's actually that user that's logging in with that username and password. And single sign-on does help with that. We can first enable multi-factor authentication to get into the workspace, where they have to use something they know and something they have. Like a phone is a great example with a one-time password. And then once they're logged into the workspace portal, as they access their individual applications, we can single sign them into each of those so they don't have to type in their password every time. This is inherently going to make the environment more secure and provide a better user experience. Also, application and desktop delivery. So if you have any customers that have legacy applications and desktops, we need to ensure that we can deliver those as well via some sort of virtualization platform to embrace hybrid cloud. So just a little bit more food for thought for building out a digital workspace practice. So I always like to say, define your vision first. After watching this video, does a digital workspace practice make sense for you? Is it something that fits your organization and what you're offering to your customers? If the answer is yes, like we absolutely need to offer these type of solutions. Maybe we already are today, but we want to make it more robust. We need to go on to the next step, which is all about building a blueprint. And we do have some exercises we can run with you here at Ingram Micro if you want some strategic advice and business plans that we can work on together to build that blueprint out. But that would definitely be your next step, is ensuring, hey, this is what we want now. We want to construct a toolkit. We need to sell a solution, not an individual vendor. Maybe we use, Microsoft for this piece. We're going to use Okta for this piece, Citrix for this piece, Google for that piece, because they each solve a different need within the digital workspace practice. Next is all going to be about enablement. This is enabling your sales team, your marketing associates, as well as your engineers to prepare for issuing out this solution to your customers. And we can help you with that as well. We have a lot of overlay resources across a lot of these vendors that fall under this space, and we can provide you with very specialized training for your different resources. And then lastly, Ingram Micro, of course, we are here to help. We don't expect anyone to be able to do everything. So we do have a lot of connections. We have our own training and services department. We have our own pre-sales technical consultants that can assist you, again, across multiple vendors, across an overall solution perspective. And we do have vendor and sales technical resources as well. So definitely leverage us. In the next coming slides, I'll provide you some guidance of how you can reach out to what we call our data center force. So these are going to be our data center experts. And then we have other resources that we can always tap in as well. So here's just to name a few vendors that are in this space. So we have vendors like Microsoft, Citrix, VMware, IGEL, Google. Not putting it in any specific order, but here gives you a good snapshot. What I always like to say is, which vendors you like to work with. So do your due diligence, do some research if you're really serious about building out this sort of practice, and then consult with your team, consult with your Ingram Micro team, and we're more than willing to point you in the right direction. And then lastly, get connected with us. So I mentioned before, we created something called a data center force here at Ingram Micro, and these individuals have all collectively come together to provide resources to you, our value-added partners. And you can reach out to us by either emailing us, data-center@ingrammicro.com. There's a slew of resources that are part of that email, so you get in contact with some of the best, or you can visit us at datacenter.ingrammicro.com. We have other content available on that website, and we're continuing to bring out more content. As an example, if you wanted to find out more information on Digital Workspace, we created a PDF deep dive of the different components that make up a digital workspace. So we're happy to share that as well. And of course, lastly, if you ever want to reach out to me directly, you can. Didn't add my contact there, but it's ryan.fries. It's spelled like fries with an extra S at ingrammicro.com, and I'm happy to assist you as well. So yeah, hoping this video was helpful for you, and we look forward to hearing from you. Thanks all.